Welcome back to another episode of the Blitz Break. I'm your host, Phil Rasmussen, and I am joined by my partner in crime, fellow shoe connoisseur. That is absolutely not an accurate description, but resident Texan and mortgage industry veteran and icon, Buzz Howard.
I could be a shoe connoisseur, but I do this to just in your honor.
I know you do a lot of things in my honor. There's a lot of things that my kids and my wife do, and I think they know that it's going to get right underneath my skin, and I think you are becoming a pro at the same thing.
I think we should have a vote to people don't you like these shoes? They're well worn and comfortable. I think we should have an audience vote on whether I should keep these shoes, keep super gluing them together, or should I go ahead and bring in the new shoes?
If I was considering joining our company, I would question whether or not one of the leaders of the company was capable of affording a new pair of shoes. Well, that's how I look at it. Either that or I'd say he's so frugal and is so worried about the benefit of the rest of our people that he doesn't buy himself a new pair of shoes. Pick your poison.
That's the one. I am saving the company money by, keeping these and super gluing them together and keeping them going. It's driving me
bat shit crazy.
Well, I'm glad I could be in there for you.
I love it. Well, today we decided to do kind of a unique or kind of special episode. Since the beginning, the Blitz Break has been about bringing on guests. Cannot even begin to tell you the level of just mind-blowing intrigue I had with Mustafa last week and Jaguar Heating and Air.
Yeah,
I wish that there was just somebody like that for every single thing that you had to do, home maintenance, car maintenance, you name it in life, where you could just talk to someone who had that level of expertise and could give you insight, guidance, and honest answers before you had to make any decisions. Because the hardest part about being a consumer is when something is broken and now you have to try to decide what's a good deal and what's not, when you've got to make quick decisions to fix things.
Well, it's so true. And we've, part of this journey that you and I have started here, and it relates to this podcast and everything else, is our Give Value program of creating a book of service providers that we can recommend to our clients, ourselves, and really lean in on people that we trust, people that are giving us good advice and discounts all at the same time. And Jaguar was one of the first ones to step up and say, man, that looks like a great idea. We want to do that. And I've been so pleased with that relationship. But we're working on roofers and plumbers and heck,
my favorite, gutter cleaners,
gutter cleaning and those types of things. But even I'm working on right now a company that you gave me that does the little photos for events. I mean, think of all these different things. We want our consumers and our friends and neighbors and people in our database to be able to go to this list. If you're going to have a party and you want to have a photo booth or a jump house or after the party you need the plumber because you had too many people there.
This is true. They invited you.
Yeah. So this Give Value is really taking on a life of its own. And Mustafa and Jaguar is just one example of that. We've had some really great people on the show. I've got a guy that I'm working with right now, and we need to get him on, does all types of countertops and, marble, does everything. And he actually did a lot of work at my house, and just a great friend. And he's so fascinating. He built up this company by himself. And so working on a bunch of different vendors like that, it's just going to be so interesting.
Well, and I think the part that matters deeply to me, Give Culture and Noel and Shauna Felix and the foundation behind it. I've always felt like the hardest part about being in sales, right, is this sense that you're always in sales. And I've always felt more at peace simply giving value and helping people. It's why I've always been driven towards coaching. Mm-hmm. Why, I went and coached college basketball for 2 years. My entire life's foundation has been built around the people who shaped me by giving and believing in me when either that belief, whether I had it in myself or not, they expressed it in me, starting with my father. And Give Culture, run by Noel Felix, who was a former teammate of mine at Fresno State, and his wife, Shauna, has such a bigger purpose. And as a nonprofit, I think the thing that excites me about it is it creates something that's beyond Big Valley Mortgage and us. It's about something greater, right? It's a message that's about how we are as people, how we treat people. And it helps to really cement the point that what we do here isn't just provide money for loans, right? We're human beings that are here to help people get into homes. And like we've talked about, make memories in homes, right? Become, a photographer and revisit all your past homes. And what do you picture? Memories, things that you experienced, birthday parties and, graduation events and, nights at home where you're watching movies and popcorn, or kids, in my case, my oldest daughter throwing up on our brand new carpet the first night we moved in. That's
typical.
That's typical, right? Like those are the memories that make a home.
Well, and one of the taglines, the mottos, if you will, for American Pacific is creating experiences that matter. And that falls right in line with creating memories, those experiences that people get from what we do. And, and as a salesperson, I think one of the pinnacles of where a salesperson should be is not a salesperson, but a trusted advisor. And what we're trying to do is absolutely, I want every one of our loan officers to be a trusted advisor in the mortgage space, but mortgages is part of a greater need for housing, which is one of those basic needs of humans, is that we need housing. And so being a trusted advisor, what I love about our Give Value program is it adds another layer of being a trusted advisor, because people do need heating and air conditioning like what Jaguar does for people. They do need plumbing issue cleanups. I've heard your stories.
I can attest to that.
They need their gutters cleaned. How many times a year, in order to really have the house be, taken care of. So all of those services, and it goes right in line with all of these memories, all of these experiences. If you're having a party, we're going to actually have things for, like I said, the photo booth, maybe a jump house, maybe, someone that's going to help you clean it up and get the backyard ready, landscaping. So all of these things kind of roll in together to help us be more of that trusted advisor. I mean,
and that ultimately what we're here to do. You know, a loan is a commodity,
mm-hmm.
but the person that helps you figure out the right plan is not. They're an individual with a relationship that understands you, that understands your children and your future and your plans for them, their college plans, your retirement plans, your ambitions and your goals, your vacation plans. And there's someone who can anticipate and think about the things that someone who's just out to sell you something won't. And I think that's a big part of what, quite honestly, the lending industry, the real estate industry needs to understand is if that's your strength, then you need to lean into showing who you are, because if I don't know who you are, then why and how could I trust you? And, I think it's ironic. I'll go ahead and share my story before we get into some deeper stuff here, but you mentioned plumbing.
Sure.
So I got in this business in 2006. Mind you, that's a brilliant time to get into this business.
It was perfect timing as the market crashed.
I have what you call
real
impeccable
insight.
timing. Like I make things, I choose always the best possible time for everything. So I had about 6-7 months of working for a gentleman named Bill McMaster, and then his son-in-law, Sean Villegas. Still love those guys to this day. Taught me everything, much like you. Probably was on the same Pony Express that took across the money, Bill was. But, taught me the business, let me run around, just get your butt out and go sell, and I'll teach you and I'll answer all the questions that you need. But I went and I bought my first home, and there's a whole story. I won't go into the why and the how. My parents ended up co-signing on that loan because they didn't need to, but there was some, I would say, hypocritical, high and mighty decisions made. But we did things the quote unquote right way. And I bought a brand new condo in Antelope, and I was very proud of it. And that condo, smart me, 3 floors, same unit. Probably a good idea to be on the first floor for like a rental,
Sure.
Elderly couples, wanting to go
don't
up
have
the
to go up and down the stairs, bringing your groceries in and out.
That's right. Young families with kids don't want, that's the brilliant move. Bought that. And then inside of a year, watched my apartment flood 7 separate times. And black water, gnarliness, never my stuff, because it was always everything from above coming down. Had multiple times. At the time, I had just met my beautiful wife, who was at the time an underwriter at the first mortgage company that I worked at. And we were doing what, young couples do, traveling, trying to go have fun, going to Tahoe, going to Monterey, going to wherever.
Cleaning up plumbing issues.
Right. And getting phone calls from the neighbors going, hey, you might want to come home because there's water pouring out your front door.
Yeah, you've got a waterfall
You've got a
coming
water
out the
issue.
front door.
And, having moments where it's like, oh, it's fixed. And then, the builders, maintenance people telling you it's fixed. And then, okay, cool, sitting down to go watch Monday Night Football. Next thing you know,
ceiling
water pouring
crashes in.
through. It's like, okay, this isn't really getting fixed. I'll never forget my master bathroom. The toilet was like, yeah, man, it backed up. Like if you flushed anything other than just water, it backed up. And you're like, what the hell, man? Got someone to come out, maintenance person, over and over. Oh, yeah, we cleared it. It's fine. All right. I don't know any better. I mean, I'm still this young. Not that I'm any smarter at 42 years old, but, 20-something-year-old guy. Like, okay, cool. Finally, after 7 times, I'm like, I want someone else to come out here, not the maintenance. I want to know.
Not the people from the builder.
Yeah,
who
not
built
the people
this.
from the building. I want to know. And the guy pops off the toilet and he goes, he's there for like not even a minute. And he's like, Phil, hey, come on in here. And he points the light down and it's like, oh, the whole pipe is full of cement. There's like that much room for stuff to get through. And you're like, oh, that's why nothing comes through. Lo and behold, tear up the whole floor. Went through lots of stuff like that. Learned a lot about new construction, and then learned a lot about new construction and California law surrounding it, which was to my displeasure, not overly favorable to the consumer, right? But I say that because having a trusted plumber, having a trusted person who can give you good advice, someone that you can bring in, whether it's attorneys, landscapers, plumbers, roofers, all the things around home maintenance. There's nothing more valuable. I grew up the son of a self-employed father whose, mom did all the books and ran was a critical care and ER nurse, and trust was everything, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really key part of why we believe in this Give Value campaign is, look, if you're going to have someone come in and give you advice on your home, it should be someone that you can trust.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we're really leaning into. Matter of fact, one of the things how we're building this is talking to all of our people, our loan officers, our processors, our friends, and having them give us people that have actually worked on their homes or done work, or friends of family, those types of people, and refer them to us so that we can include them in this program. So these are all trusted partners, trusted individuals that we have a track record with. So it's going to be an exciting program as we build it out. Every day I'm getting new people that are stepping up and saying, absolutely, I want to be part of that. And so
best part about that, Buzz, is that we get to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
To standing not only up for their clients, for our clients,
yeah,
but to living up to the standard of that, right? Like if you want to remain in the program, you have to live up to those integrity standards and the reviews and the things that come through. If one of our clients is, going to circle back and say they were dishonest, they were this, they were that, then you don't get to be a part of the program anymore. And we have 35 years worth of clients who are a part of our program. And I think that's one of the many things that is attractive to clients.
Well, it's and we were talking about, you mentioned something just a minute ago. I wanted to kind of breeze through is one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast is to get people to know us more on a personal level. And we're bringing in people like last week, Mustafa from Jaguar, to get to know him and hear his story. We had a gentleman that was a property manager 1 week that had this. I was like just blown away because I have rental property. I was thinking, oh my God, do I need to talk to my property manager, because my property manager has never said anything like this to me. And we've had insurance people and we've had title people, lots of real estate people. We're going to continue to do that and bring them on and get to know them on a personal level, so that not just ourselves, but our clients can look at them and go, I like what that guy's saying. And so this format, this video format, has been fantastic for that. And what I want to add on to that is I was kind of leery of all the video stuff when you came in. And I'll say that you came in almost a year and a half ago?
A little over a year and a half ago now.
Okay, yeah. So you came in and you had big ideas about doing video and that type of stuff, and nobody was out there doing this. Nobody in the lending side. There's a lot of people that pull out their cell phone and they do videos, and there's some people that are doing a pretty good job. But what we've built here with BVM Studios, we spent a tremendous amount of time and energy putting this together, and I just kind of wanted to I guess ask you kind of what led you to this, because I know that you've had this a big background of this 2 or 3 year learning process of getting us to where we are today. And, I'm so thankful, and Big Valley Mortgage is thankful, because we're now being able to really take advantage of that 2 or 3 year time frame that you learned and figured out things. And quite frankly, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't get into this, is because there is a
learning
2 to 3 year runway of trying to get it off the ground and learning experiences. And, it's funny. I hear you tell stories about, I did the perfect segment the other day and I forgot to turn the cameras on, or those are the learning experiences that we're bringing to the table for our realtor partners. And they're coming in and they're taking advantage of it and getting a lot of traction in their markets. So I want to kind of get your, the Reader's Digest version of, what led you to this and laid the foundation for all this.
Well, I will do my best to be concise, because God knows I've never been accused of being concise. I have two parts of me, right? I basically grew up a 2-sport athlete, baseball and basketball. I had 2 parents who believed in me even when they probably shouldn't have, right? Like my dad.
That's probably the hardest thing for them.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, my dad believed in everything I did, coached everything I ever did, baseball, basketball. My mom was a critical care and ER nurse and did the books for my dad's business, Athletics Unlimited. He was a hand-to-hand relational salesperson, but his self-employed business allowed him to be the coach for everything I ever did. And so I learned a lot about relationships growing up. And I also learned a lot about that even when I questioned myself, there was always this sense that, like, my dad believed I was going to be something. And when things kind of evolved, I ended up, long story short, right? I played at Jesuit High School, had a pretty successful career. Shout out to a lot of my teammates and friends that were a part of that. Played at Fresno State for a legendary coach in Jerry Tarkanian. Met and became very close friends with a lot of great guys. He retired. That half a year changed a lot of me, because the new coaching staff, and I won't say the whole staff because there's some great guys, Andy Newman, David Fisdale, Bob Burton, great guys. The head coach, Ray Lopes, did not see me in his future. Let's just say that. His words exactly. I ended up transferring, and I went to UC Davis, and guys by the name of Brian Fogel and Greg Klink kind of brought me there. And I thought I had found my home. Even though I had this vision of Gonzaga and Mark Few and all of that, blew my ankle out, and it was almost like God's plan. Like I should go here. This is the right fit. 2 weeks later, Coach Fogel was gone, and I was playing for another coach that I just didn't know. I say this all the time. Gary Stewart, I think he would admit, if it was his choice, he wouldn't have recruited me. I wouldn't have played for him. I probably wouldn't have chosen to play for Gary Stewart either. But I look at that, and I tell you, this only simply from the standpoint of, for 20 plus years, that really shaped me. And the world of college basketball, college sports has changed so much today. Like, had the world been then what it is today, I'd have transferred, found another program, and off I'd have gone. But it taught me toughness and grit and how to find a way to just make it work. And I had a successful career with statistics that, I think in many cases are very impressive. Rebounding in point totals, not as many wins as I would have liked at my UC Davis run. While I was at Fresno, we were top 10, top 12 in the country, playing at Madison Square Garden, having Dick Vitale announce our games with Jerry Tarkanian as the coach. Like,
yeah,
legendary for me. Like, soak it in, like, wow. Especially 01, right after 9/11, I remember more than anything looking up at the previously existing Twin Towers and realizing what used to be there and having these moments that really shaped me. But when I finished, I decided I was done with basketball because I was pretty burnt, and I was playing baseball, and I had this really wonderful experience playing for Rex Peters at UC Davis in the Big West. And it was like finding my joy again, pitching out of the bullpen, first in relief, then in setup, then in the closer role. And honestly, short of my freshman year at Fresno State, probably the most fun I've ever had. Just like living the dream, getting on a bus, playing cards with buddies. You could not imagine for, a 20-something-year-old kid more exciting stuff. Then as I was trying to kind of build out this kind of platform to go chase a professional career, tore my rotator cuff again. And then, like most of us, all of a sudden my younger brother got a loan for his house, met the family doing the loans. And the next thing I know, I'm in the loan business and I'm doing loans, and I'm looking at the money, and I'm thinking about the surgery, and I'm looking at all of it, and I'm going, I could make more in a month than I'll make in my entire minor league contract. And I got into loans, and I really never looked back. And at that time, my beautiful wife was an underwriter at the company that I began working for. And it was like everything that I had poured my entire life into suddenly was now poured into my family and my career. And so I was pretty successful. Like, I knew never going to outwork me, never going to outcompete me. I'm smart. I know it sounds arrogant, but I know I'm smart, mostly because I'm so damn stubborn that I'm not going to quit till I find the answer. And I do enjoy the element of helping people. So I built this career, and I realized I was 20 years of athlete and then all of a sudden 20 years of business. And they were just two separate worlds, things that really never collided. And I had this desire starting in 2017-18 as I began to build out a growing company for a mentor who I ended up learning a hard lesson that I placed a lot more value in his mentorship than he did in mentoring me. And that was a difficult lesson because it meant a lot to me. And then I found out I didn't mean quite as much to him. And I think learning those lessons, we all got to go through them. They're all hard things. It's one of the things I really value and appreciate about Kurt Reisig and what APM represents. But I had been a part of video, and I recognized, like, man, 1 out of every 16, 17, 18 videos we shoot ever makes its way out.
Yeah.
We're trying to be something that we're not. We're trying to be a professional media company. But really what we need to be is telling the stories that we all are. And so I had this desire to do it, but like so many other times in life, I committed to the people that I had helped attract to the company, and we were going through multiple M&As, and that was a lot. And so I just frankly didn't have the time to commit to learning it, right? So from 2017 through 2022, one thing after another, take care of everybody, and learned a lot about myself, about the fact that I wore everybody's stress internally. Like I wore it like it was my own. And in 22, left the company that I helped form, not by choice, and then ended up starting my own and ran into the buzzsaw of what it's like to be in big business, attorney world type of stuff. And it was eye-opening, very eye-opening, quite honestly. And so you asked me how this all started, and I know that's a lot of backstory, but the truth is, found out just before Christmas that the company that we had partnered with had lost their nerve, even though they knew every detail. They found an exit clause to kind of escape the legal dynamics in front of them. And I was at home, and I was looking at my 3 young children and my wife and going, what the hell did I do? Like, I feel like I've done everything right by everybody else, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that matter the most. Mm-hmm. And so if we want to be really honest, and Jocelyn, you can cut this out, fuck the rest of them. These are the 4 people that matter most in my life, and really got to figure out who I am. And I went through a stretch where I'm not ashamed to admit, I think I watched Yellowstone 3 times over in my bed, didn't get out of bed for about 6 months. It was, where's my life going to go from early part of 23 on, shortly after Christmas. And I decided I needed to find something that was beyond mortgage, Buzz. And I think, candidly, give a big shout out. Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson had really taken off with All the Smoke podcast, and I really felt inspired by the things they talked about. I'll give Matt a lot of credit. He took a meeting with me. I don't think I nailed that meeting. As a matter of fact, I think I was probably at a low point, and that was not my best appearance. So Matt, if you're able to give me another chance to sit down with you, man, I'll take it. But the reality was, I really felt a connection to this idea of being authentic and telling stories. And I saw it for what it was worth. Like, this is humanizing. This is what clients want to see. This is what I'm attached to. And then I started calling my teammates, people I lost touch with for years. And what I found was, damn, every time I talked to them, just a little bit of me dug a little out of that hole. And that 6 months that I felt like I couldn't get out of bed because I wasn't sure where my career was headed, felt a little less heavy. Like, they knew who I was. All this other stuff going on around me, the rumors, the crap, the nonsense, those guys knew who I was because they were a part of that entire endeavor, that entire venture in my 20 plus year athletic career. They knew the competitor that I was. They knew the person that I was. And it felt really good to talk to people who didn't question me about things that I'm like, that's absolutely BS. It really inspired me. And I started to think, you know what? I need to connect what I thought about in 2017 and 18 and just didn't have time for: the athlete and the business person.
Yeah.
And it's time I start thinking about doing that. And so I went about formulating this plan for Triple J Sports Podcast as my initial baby in Triple J Studios. And then, like anything else, I thought, if I'm going to do it, I need to learn how to do it all the way through. I need to become an expert at it. I need to learn all the nuances, because I want to scale it and I want to be able to offer it to loan officers and real estate partners in such a way that we can stop wasting money spending endless amounts of dollars on unpredictable results with marketing that doesn't totally understand who you are. And I began to just chase that journey. And I laugh and joke all the time. That was 2022 that I recognized it. 6 months in 2023, I could tell you every episode of Yellowstone. I can tell you everything Kevin Costner ever did, and Beth and all those other people. And I can tell you a great deal of details about all the smoke episodes and what Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, did in those episodes really helped me see, like, that's a big part of who I am, and I lost track of it. And so I felt like I lost touch with the man that made me successful. So I began this journey of, I'm going to learn everything, like video, audio, technical, all the mistakes you can possibly make. And I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to launch this, and this is going to be my baby. And I went through, and Triple J Sports Podcast, for those that don't know, there is a very specific reason why the name of that show exists. The tagline, it is for every person, every coach that had an effect on me, from Jerry Tarkanian, John Welch, Joe Patolni, Hank Meyer, my dad. My father was a huge impact on my life. From the Tories and Tory Larson, Tyler Larson, Tim Larson, that group. And I built the entire thing around the people that affected me, because I realized mentorship is probably the greatest gift we can give people, right? Like, really, truly caring about them. And then I got a chance to take a look back and realize, you know what? During a couple of years in my early teens, I got to mentor and teach some kids, they're grown men now, at Chico State, and change their lives and give back the things that I had learned from a guy like John Welch. So time was ready for me to launch it. So here's the wrap on my long-winded approach here. I spent so much damn time trying to get the audio and the video right. And of course, one of my good friends, very loyal teammates, Robert Eson, overachieving Division II athlete, much less Division I athlete, who has since become a very successful Division I collegiate coach, was, of course, the first to join the show. And I'll never forget sitting down with him, doing the episode, and every audio issue that could possibly go wrong went wrong with my audio. He was great. He was amazing. He did an amazing job. And I'm sitting there going, it took me 2 years to figure out that I was going to screw this shit up anyway.
Yep.
And then I had Amir Caraway in studio to do a in-person episode. And once again, he was awesome. And Amir's one of my guys that I look at, and I don't say it from the standpoint of taking credit, but he was the guy that I saw myself in, and I got to give all the things that John Welch gave me to him. And he became an all-conference, standout, wonderful career. And damn it, every possible video issue came up in that stupid episode too. And he did amazing. And so when people talk to me about, oh, I'm worried about video, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, I always tell them, look, you are talking to the one person who can tell you without question, just knock it off and get started.
Yeah,
because
it's going to happen anyway.
I spent 2 years trying to not knock any of those issues out, like make sure that I had them all figured out. And guess what? I made the mistakes anyway, and I learned on the fly. And Triple J for me was a cathartic project. But what I really committed to, Buzz, and what we're doing here today was, this isn't just about me. Like, this is a cathartic opportunity for me to talk coaching and leadership and all of that through Triple J Sports Podcast. But it's the foundation for me to teach loan officers and real estate agents how to do it for themselves. Because ultimately, what I believe to my core is that our greatest asset is our human nature. And with AI and the advent and the technology and social media, the single thing that you can provide, that you can offer, that no one can ever take from you is your human characteristics.
Sure.
It's the things that you are. And that was my mission. And so when we got here, it was a passion for me to set this thing up. I know you and I ran around looking at every possible location to set this thing up.
Yeah, we looked at everything and finally decided that our lobby was the perfect place. And what a waste of space, because you know, who uses a lobby anymore?
Who uses it? And we had this great production room that you know, our wonderful and incredible Jocelyn is in the back producing it right now.
Senior engineer.
She's a lot more
producer.
Pick a title that's high level, and Jocelyn has proven she is all of that. That mission and that component is really what drove me. And when I started Triple J Studios, I had a vision to tell stories. Coach Tarkanian made an impression on me, Buzz, that changed my life. You know, this is a man who coached legends, Larry Johnson, Stacey Ogman, Chris Herron, guys, plenty of guys I've interviewed on the shows. And I'll never forget, and I've told this story many times, I'm in his office. My dad remembers this vividly. My dad remembers sitting down in his office one day and hearing him tell one of his assistants, hey, sign the white kid that shoots the shit out of it. And my dad walks out and goes, I can't believe that Coach Tark said that about my son. and that meant a lot. I also remember very vividly Coach Tark telling me I was one of the greatest shooters he had ever coached. I knew he was full of it. I knew he didn't mean it, but I knew that it meant a lot that he was willing to tell me that.
Sure.
To inspire that confidence. Much like Hank Meyer, Joe Patolny, and so many others like my dad that believed in me. And so this all started with a cathartic need to reconnect with who I really was so that I could become and return to being the leader that had made me successful in the mortgage and business worlds. And then it became an obsession, much like anything else. Don't just do it. Learn how to do it on such a level that you can scale it and give it to everybody else. And so what we're doing right now,
that's where we're at.
This is it. And I know that's a long story, but that's the real truth. And there's some guys that I'm going to quickly give a shout out, and then I want to ask you a couple questions, Mr. Howard. But, you know, guys like Robert Eason, who's head coach at UC Chicago, Illinois. Gus Argenal, who's now the head coach at UC Riverside. Jesse Pruitt, who's the head coach, or not the head coach, the assistant at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Chris Cobb and Jay Flores. Jay Flores, I coached at Chico State. Chris Cobb and I worked together at Chico State. Greg Klink is the reason I never quit at Chico or at the UC Davis. as a guy who was a Division I athlete, there's a lot of perception when you leave a Division I program that you failed, that you weren't good enough.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, it's kind of how you see yourself, right? When I made the decision to go to Davis, it was because I met with Coach Fogel. He showed me the offense, and it was like, oh yeah, this is the offense that feeds the guy that's hot. This is what I played for Hank Meyer. This is how I hit 7 or 8 threes and then make the right play. This is a perfect setup. And Greg Klink has recruited me forever. And then 2 weeks later, he's gone, and I'm playing for a coach who, quite frankly, is far more similar to Ray Lopes, the coach that I chose to leave. By chose to leave, I would say more like he wanted my butt out of there in the fastest way possible.
Was suggested.
Yeah. Bob Burton, David Fisdale, who's had a great NBA career. Andy Newman is the head coach at UC or at Cal State Northridge. Great guys. I don't knock them at all for it, but those guys all made such a great impact on me, and I valued them, and I look at my career, and I'm so lucky. Like, I met all these guys: Travis DeManby, Noel Felix, who we've partnered with Give Culture, Hiram Fuller, Mustafa Al Sayed, who's one of the over from Sudan, Melvin Eli, who was a top pick in the draft. Demetrius Porter, who is right here, Center Cork Wine, if you're interested, one of the up-and-coming brands. I can't help but support my man. I cherish those relationships, and when you see the real Phil,
Mm-hmm.
you see a man who was affected by those people. The Phil that you might want to strangle is affected by the people who in the industry over the years have presented a lack of loyalty, a cutthroat lack of trust, and what I wanted to really help all of our loan officers and real estate agents overcome is their fear of video. Let's face it, I think I look like a dumbass on camera. So I'm looking at you right now. I look like a dumbass, and I'm okay with that. But most people, that's their fear, right? What they got to get over is, we all know you look like that.
Yep.
We see you every day.
We already know what you look like. And people are afraid of, they hate seeing themselves. And something that's also weird is they hate hearing their own voice.
They hate hearing their own voice, and then they hate hearing their own habits. And you and I have a running joke. We give ourselves a hard time. Somehow along the way, not that it's not the first time, but we started doing the shows, and I became a Valley girl, and I started saying like, and I watched a video one day, and I'm like, I just said like 16 times in 32 seconds. What the hell is wrong with me? I've got some work to do.
It is a tremendous effort to get rid of those types of things.
But it's a great way to progress as a person.
Oh my gosh.
Great lesson.
We laugh because, and I use the word obvious a lot.
Obviously is your key trigger.
And it's my brain when I'm trying to make a point that I feel, the only thing I can say is, well, this is obviously, and so I use that word a lot. And you had mentioned it to me, and I go, oh my gosh, I have. And what's even funnier is that I use it when I'm sending an email a lot of times, or I'm, creating getting people to join the Give Value. I send out a nice email that explains everything, and I had to go through and take out obviously.
12 obviously.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. And see, I just used the word like. And so it's one of those things that people I don't think that people have a good self-awareness of what they look like, what they sound like, and the motions that they make. I tend to watch myself, and I use my hands a lot. And so
I'm just glad they go in the right places.
So I try to hold on a lot of times instead of using my hands. And so I think that people have to get over that fear, because everybody already knows this about you.
This is the truth.
Everybody that knows you knows exactly what you look like. They know exactly what you sound like and how you talk and act. And so you have to get over it. And I think that what I've really appreciated about what we've done over the last year and a half, and really over the last probably 8 months, when was the first episode when we actually did the first podcast?
The first Blitz Break?
About 8 months ago, maybe?
8-9 months ago, yeah.
What I really like about it and have started appreciating it is, and I've said this from the beginning, is as the leaders of Big Valley Mortgage, we have to lead from the front. And we have to do what, for me, was uncomfortable, because I'm one of those people. I'd go, oh my God, am I really that fat? And do I really do this with my hands?
All your therapy sessions on ChatGPT were front and center.
I know. And does my voice sound that way? Am I really a hick from Texas? And, so that's the thing that we have to lead from the very front and get our loan officers used to this medium, because print is dead. I mean, You're not going to do an article in a newspaper and have anybody really see it ever again. You're not going to put an ad, even ads on the freeway on a billboard. I don't think you get the same traction that you get from all of the social media that's going on today. That's where everything is. And in order to capture people on social media, they have to know who you are, that you're genuine, that they relate to you, all of those types of things, that you're a real person. We had a realtor on our podcast, and she told us a story that one of the episodes that she did, or videos that she did, of her actually failing at selling a house, and her going out and saying, it doesn't always work out. Yep. And her taking her sign away from the front of the house
really moved you.
And I had actually seen that on video before, because I was doing a little bit of research on her, and I had run across that ad, and I thought that was the best ad showing that she's a human, that she is a real person with real feelings, and I liked her because of that ad, showing those kinds of things. Just like us making mistakes, mispronouncing words, or talking about cows and saying, the wrong thing. But
apparently, just so we're all clear, we are all aware that only bulls have testicles. I asked the question surrounding what was the weirdest thing you've ever eaten on a cow? And yes, he ended up going towards testicles, but we are very clear.
Fries.
So for all of you, yes, you are right. We are wrong.
The word cow is
the
somewhat
intent
generic.
was not. It was a generic question. But just so you all can be validated, you are right. We are aware. It's only bulls. That said, to your point, getting comfortable with yourself and eliminating the insecurities, part of the journey for me is, for 40 years, I've tried to do everything the right way. Like my dad had taught me, my mom had taught me, do things the right way, be a leader. I can remember I hit my first home run. I was in Little League. I was 10 years old. Best pitcher in the league was a guy named Ryan Holiday. my best friend to this day, has quadruplet boys. Don't even get me started on how the hell he's managed that. They're great. Dylan,
oh my God.
Jordan, Evan, and Caden. Love you guys. You guys are the best. He hits homers off of me, and he's the dominant guy. He's like 6'4" at like 11 and a half, and I'm 10, right? And I hit a home run off of him back. And I'm so damn excited. I'm running first base, and I jump, and I'm like, yes. And I'm like, and my dad's across at third base coaching going,
yeah.
Like, no, don't celebrate.
No celebration.
Don't
like
celebrate. That. And I'm like, oh. And I jog around, but inside I'm like, why can't I celebrate? I just hit a home run off the guy that nobody's, like, people are afraid of getting the box on. From a very young age, I learned, don't celebrate. Don't show people up. Success should be treated as if you expect it, and do the right things. Mm-hmm. And so for 40 years, that's the way that I was taught. And I tried to do the right thing by everybody. And to be honest, I, even through my career, like even in the failures and all of that, I always felt like I had a good image. I took care of people. I did the right things. I never said the wrong thing. Shouldn't say I never said the wrong things, but I always tried to say the right things, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was 40 years old and just launched my company. Things go sideways, and I'm staring at, I don't know what the hell to do with my life. First time in my life. And there's a very common conversation that goes on with athletes. When your career ends, you go through an identity crisis. Mm-hmm. You don't know who the hell you are. Like, what am I? My entire life, everything has come easy to me because I'm an athlete, and everybody just kind of caters to me, and this is my purpose. Every morning I wake up, I do this, and this. This is my routine, and this is what comes from it. This is the money that I make. This is my purpose. And then all of a sudden, it's like you wake up and you're like, what's my purpose? And all those things that people used to do, yeah, they don't do those anymore. And it's a really common conversation, one that I really indulged in listening to and learning and experiencing the emotions during that time. And then I realized kind of over time, I'm like, you know what? I never went through it. I was 20-something years old. I took everything that I had poured into my career, and I dumped it immediately into my career and my beautiful wife and my kids and my career. And it was like, I never stopped and had an identity crisis. And then I was 40 years old, and I was like, again, sorry, Jocelyn, for the editing. Who the fuck am I? Right? Like, who am I? Very daunting. And talking to some of my teammates from high school, college, different points in my career really helped me. There's a good friend of mine, teammate, JP Howell. We were high school teammates, did damage in high school, won it all playing baseball, dominant pitcher, had a hell of a career, went to USC, then Texas, broke all of Roger Clemens' records, then got drafted by the Royals, pitched for the Devil Rays and the Dodgers. And, let's just face it, great career. But he also went through some difficult times and some things that are his story to share. But I'll never forget calling him and being in the middle of my 6-month can't get out of bed kind of moment, and him going, dude, I'm proud of you. You're less than 6 months in and you're trying to dig out. And I've been in my own battle, and I won't mention the number of years, and I'm still digging out of it. And he, to this day, is one of the friends I value the most, because every time I'm with him, I just feel better. Like, he helps me remember who I am. He doesn't bring me down. He doesn't bring me back to a place. And another one, Melvin Eli, top lottery pick. He was the guy. Now, I'm a freshman in college at Fresno State. I got a car because I'm lucky. I got fairly, I wouldn't say wealthy parents, but I got parents that are self-employed and make money. And Melvin's a single, a young man about to get drafted, a senior, and has a girlfriend and a baby. And I'm driving him around like that's not the dynamic you assume, but that's the way it worked back then. One of the greatest guys you will ever meet from a human being perspective. Melvin was top notch. And remember, I'll never forget calling him and the conversations that I had with him, helping me remember, here's a guy who had a 15-year, 14-year NBA career, and he respects me and sees me for who I am. And some of these people who have a lot of nonsense to say about me, it just doesn't matter anymore. Like, I remember who I am, right? Like, just because you don't see that I'm trying to do the right thing by you doesn't mean that I wasn't. Your perception doesn't equal reality.
Right.
Reality is reality. And I say that because Triple J Sports Podcast for me was a big part of that. And Greg Klink knows this. The phone call he made to me the night that I was ready to quit changed my life, because I was ready. I was done. I was, I had been a Division I success, thinking I had a pro career. And now all of a sudden I'm not even playing at the level in a Division II schedule that year, headed into a Division I schedule, and just thinking in my own mind at a young 19-year-old, how far have I fallen? And this doesn't register for me. Like, what's the point? But he had the foresight and the care to pick up the phone and call me, and he changed my life. And it's one of the reasons to this day I follow him. I love him to death. And when I look at the leadership that you see in who I am, and Buzz, you and I have talked about this a lot, I believe no greater in one singular belief than caring about the people that you're responsible for, above all. Like, you really, truly have to care about their well-being, or none of it means shit.
Yeah.
Like, if I care about you, I can coach you. I can challenge you. I can question you. I can push you. But if you don't believe that I care about you,
yeah,
nothing I say to you matters, because I have played for the guys that didn't care about me. And quite honestly, nothing they say can ever really make a difference. There's a pretty funny story. I'm going to go ahead and tell it, and we'll see if it opens the door. But I'll never forget, I'm a sophomore at Fresno State. A year earlier, I'm on cloud nine. I think I'm, if I do all the right things with John Welch and Chris Farr, and I work my tail off, there is a professional career on the other side. Pro, on the NBA side, or overseas. And now here I am, and I'm in this new regime, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to see the floor. But we're in practice, and I'm late to a rotation. And by a rotation on defense, I mean just rotating over to get a stop. And in that, I was late, so I tried to take a charge, which is getting run over by a guy driving. But it was too late, so I kind of like halfway fell over because the guy didn't really hit me. But I wanted to, I just was late. At that time, head coach made a big deal about it. Like, I was afraid of it. And I'm like, dude, the last thing I'm afraid of is getting hit in the chest. I've been run over so many times. I'm not afraid of it. But the byproduct was all 15 guys on the team are now going to run your ass over and destroy you. And you're going to have to take it. And that's how we're going to punish you. So I line up each time, sitting in my stance. And the first couple guys, because they're good teammates, they come in, they run, and they kind of stop, and they hit me. And I fall over. And he's like, oh, no. That's not good enough. You need to deplete this man. Like, he needs to feel it. So, mind you, we're all sweaty and running around. And fall over, get back up. Next couple of guys, they've been getting shootout like, you better run him over. And we're talking between 6'5", maybe 200 to 7'2", 280, right? Like big bodies. As we get down the line, a couple of the big guys come running down the line, and they just run. And I'm talking both feet off the ground, slam into the ground on the floor, slamming the head against the ground, going, where am I? But let me get back up and get where I'm supposed to go. And there's just sweat and water and all over the floor. Nobody's cleaning it up. I think about 8 or 9 guys in, one of the guys came in and he slipped and he tore his ACL, blew his ACL out because the floor was wet. And our head coach proceeded to make an entire scene about how that blown ACL was my fault and laid into me. And I remember, I'm 18 years old and I'm like, is it my fault? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm feeling pretty stupid, but feeling terrible for the guy. Run it. And then he goes, get the hell out of my drill. Go run up and down, run suicides on the side. So I'm doing that, and they're cleaning up the floor, tending to a young man whose now season is over.
Hurt himself.
His ACL is blown, and I'm running. I'm doing sprints, and I'm going as hard as I can, and I'm exhausted. And then I'm hearing all the yelling, and it's Phil's fault, and this and that. And then out of nowhere, I catch a ball, boom, to the side of my ear, like a Nolan Ryan fastball that just lights me up. And I'm blown away because it knocks me into the bleachers because I'm right next to the bleachers. And it's like, I'm already maybe semi-concussed, but I'm knocked into the bleachers, and I'm blown away like, he just chucked this ball at my head and took my ass out. And to this day, remember thinking, if you weren't who you were and you didn't have the power you had over me, I'd go beat the living you-know-what dog out of you, because no man should treat any man like that, right?
No coach should be acting that way.
So I go to the training room. I'm getting treated. My back looks like, ever seen somebody like fall down like a rail or something, and it's just like scarred and scraped? My whole back is just a disaster. So they're treating all the cuts and treating the scars, and I'll never forget coach coming in and going, didn't mean to hit you in the head. And that's all he said. And I remember being like,
didn't mean to hit you in the head.
4-letter word is all I got for you, dude. Like, that's all you got to say to me. And I knew at that point, like, yeah, it's time for me to leave, right? Like, it's time to move on. And I went and had a conversation, and do you see me in the future of this program? I'll register, I'll do whatever. If you don't see me in the future, then I don't want to be here. I can't answer that with an honest yes. All right, I'm out. I'm going to go look at that experience and go, that was wild. The thing I find interesting, and I say this we're talking a lot about this buzzer, but this is the toughness and the commitment and the unwillingness to quit that started to develop in me throughout my career, going to Davis, playing for a different coach, and I wonder if the world of NIL and the transfer portal has changed and caused kids to have too many options and not have to deal with adversity. Let's face it, our mortgage industry has been adversity one year after another for several years. So when I started this podcast, the Triple J Sports Podcast, and then the Blitz Break, and now we're doing Beyond the Pages, and Triple J Studios has a host of documentaries that we're looking to do in addition to. The point of the entire project is to get people's true, authentic voices out there, because why you work with somebody is who they are. Mm-hmm. It's their life story. It's the reason you should trust them. It's the reason that you believe that when they say something to you, there's validity behind it. There's heart behind it. There's conviction behind it. And that the life experiences that they've had can give you a reason to trust that they're looking out for your best interest. So that's a very long-winded way around that message, but that is the deal. And the last thing I'll say, and then I want to ask you a question, is I've heard every excuse under the sun about why people don't want to do video. And I tell people, good for you. Nobody cares why you don't want to do video. Video is what people want to see. So it's your job to be present so that people can get to know you and understand they're not judging you critically for the same things you're judging yourself for. Oh. They are simply looking for a chance to get to know you.
Well, there's no saying about just about anything is that you're the only one that's going to notice certain things. Give you an example. You're painting your living room at your house, and you make a little mistake, maybe drop a little paint on the floor in the corner, and you just get upset. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I've ruined this floor and blah, blah, blah. The truth of the matter is that you're the only one that's going to notice that little drip of paint right there. Matter of fact, if you start to wipe it up, you might make it a bigger mess than just leaving it alone. And so you're the only one that's going to notice all of those things. I think that video, as you study the way that we all look at social media, the way that we look at advertising, any kind of message, for so long, we've all seen messages pretty much in flat. In other words, 2D. It's you see someone's picture, and then they have this nice written statement that probably 3 or 4 people worked on to edit, to make it perfect, to have the right words, to make it perfect. And the background is the perfect color that's been studied. And so it's all 2D, and it's so easy to fake. And what's so amazing about video is it becomes 3D, and you can't fake the way that you speak. You can't. In other words,
your ums and your ahs and your obviously's and all of that, as much as we tease each other,
right?
They are a part of who you are as a person,
right? And it's just one of those things that creates more trust when you move from 2D and the perfect ad that's been created and edited and AI does this and that, to where a video is real life. And it's one of the reasons why, and you think about this, it's one of the reasons, what is one of the most popular videos to watch on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram? It's
usually
always
fails.
I was going to say, it's almost always bloopers and fails.
They're entertaining and funny.
Yeah, you ever go to a movie where you watch the movie and you go, "Well, that was a great movie," and at the end, before you walk out of the theater, they play like 5 minutes worth of bloopers, and you're almost getting up and you're going, "Oh no, let's watch," and you sit there, and what you remember is the bloopers. You walk away and you remember the bloopers on those movie trailers, and it's the same way on fails. Although a lot of times you're going, "Oh my gosh, I know that hurt that person." You know, they're running along and they're going to jump over a little, wire fence, and they catch their toe, and it's like bam on the floor, and you have to laugh, but then you think, "Oh, I can't watch that again because I know that hurt." But it's the fails and it's the bloopers that everybody really enjoys. That video of the realtor, it was not a funny fail, but it was a real fail that she wasn't able to sell that house.
It was the reason that you would trust her when she told you that she could do something, because you also know she would be willing to tell you when she can't.
When she can't, that's right. And those are the things, the slip of the cuss words, or I'll share with you. We also do a little 3-minute reel every week about two mortgage guys, and we just wrap up the week. Here's what happened.
Most of the time it's one mortgage guy, because
because I'm alone, and
you're a loner, and nobody really likes to sit in the studio with you. I get it.
Actually, we filmed this week. There's 3 guys, but what's so funny is I wish that we'd have kept the clip, because the first time we were in another little studio, and we had a little BVM sign, and we're in the middle. Matter of fact, that sign is sitting right over there. But that sign in the middle, we're talking, and that sign falls over, and we both looked at each other, and we just busted out laughing. Those are the kind of things that people love to see.
It's human.
It's like, and that's what makes it so funny, and makes it human, and people are drawn to other people because they go, "Wow, that would be like me. That's me. That's I fall down all the time," or
it's
whatever.
just flat entertaining.
It's just so much. It's so much more fun than the seriousness, and so that's what this does. Video turns it into a 3D experience that I guess nowadays with AI, sure, you could fake it, but I don't think that's what people want to see.
That's not the trustworthy piece.
Yeah, it doesn't create trust. And so that's what I like about the video is it's real. You can reach so many more people so much faster, and convey a message that they trust.
And I get to give you constant shit about your shoes.
Well,
which
yeah,
is
and
great.
the shoes, but I wear these shoes every day, and so this is what you get. And we wear our. I was thinking that was a Give Culture shirt, but it's not. But we wear these shirts.
I should, because I love and support what Noel
they do,
and Shauna are doing, and shout out to Noel, Shauna, love you guys, believe in everything you guys are about. But I'm gonna shift it here, Buzz. So you like I said, I make the joke all the time that you delivered the first mortgage across the country on the Pony Express. I'm actually not even sure it's a joke. I think it might actually be for real, but or that you chiseled it in. I mean, there's a lot of funny jokes that we make, and it's pretty consistent. So for those of you that are tired of the joke, I apologize. I just think it's funny, so I continue to say it. And as many of you know, when you're a leader, you got to say the same thing 10,000 times till people start paying attention. But as you've been in this business a long time, you've been at this company a long time, 35 years. Kurt Reisig represents something that, quite honestly, everything I ever wish I could have gotten in the business industry, he represents. He and I had a coaching session earlier this week, and I wouldn't say he kicked my ass, but he gave me good feedback in the way that I always appreciated. Like I've always loved and appreciated being told where and how and what I need to get better at by people that I know and believe care about me, because that's how I get better. I hate it when I get nonsense from people that are like, you have ulterior motives and you don't give a darn about me or anything about me. You not only represent the heart and soul of this organization, you've been present for so much. You were a teacher, a coach, and much to my chagrin, an ardent Texan. And you've, as we've discussed, eaten cow testicles and God knows what else. I'm even going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that you might have eaten cow penis. But
that's not a thing.
But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm throwing it out there. When you look at your journey and you think about what it's been like to be a part of a company that has stayed true to its roots, given you a home, giving you a place to lead, a place to care about people, a place to exemplify what it's like to truly invest in and believe in and care about people. Knowing there are people that, no matter how much we want to do so, certain people simply don't deserve our patience because they aren't that type of person. And discernment around those that do and those that don't is one of the great challenges. You have done, over the course of your time, this job that has allowed you to create a culture of people that I look around and I see people who they deserve the passion, the commitment, the empathy, the compassion, the loyalty, and the love that comes from being a part of a company. And that is a key to any organization culturally representing what is foundationally important. You exemplify all those things. At the same time, an organization has to evolve and change, and it has to stay current with what was good in 2010 is not good in 2020, is not going to be good in 2030. And as we've evolved and talked about a lot of different things, I think one of the things I admire most about you is your humility, your willingness to not only learn and admit both your mistakes and your strengths. I will not repeat the fact of what you are willing to allow people to do on your desk in order for them to simply participate, because there are janitors that will not support your employment if they are aware that that's something you endorse. But talk to me about your journey here. Your visit from Texas is not a visit. It's a transition. It's a decision you made years ago for family, and it's become this Texan who, depending on the day, the time, and the topic, your draw can be unnoticeable to, holy crap, that guy is Texan through and through. And talk to me about your journey here. Tell the audience and me the Buzz Howard story.
Oh, well, it's a long story. Obviously, it's funny. I used to always think of myself as the youngest guy in the room, and
well, that's
in
bullshit,
the industry.
And we know it.
And it's what happens as life goes on. You move from being the youngest person in a room to all of a sudden you look around and if you're not the oldest, you're almost the oldest person in the room. And so,
I got a gold casket lined up for you when you get there, my man.
Next month is going to be my 65th birthday. And
happy early birthday, my friend.
Yeah, it's coming quickly. Grew up in Texas, grew up in little bitty towns in Texas, and in basically East Texas, which if you get to know people from East Texas, we do have a draw. It depends. A draw. And if it depends. If I've been on the phone with any of my buddies or anybody from my family, man, it comes rushing back.
Or if you say obviously more than three times in a row, that obviously goes from obviously to obviously.
That's right. So yeah, it's it all comes rushing back. It's a habit that's hard to get rid of. So the more tired that I get, or the more I drink, the more Texan I get.
You need to drink some more of that too, by the way.
I enjoy my my Texan, and someday will probably return. But I went to school, and it was the moment that I graduated from college. My dad had given me a choice of a couple of different gifts, and I had a cousin that lived in Hawaii, and I grew up out in the country, but I always loved the ocean and loved diving and all of those kind of things. And I had a cousin and aunt that lived in Hawaii, and so for my graduation gift, it was, hey, I want a round trip ticket to Hawaii. And so I literally left graduation ceremony in college. It was Christmas time, right before Christmas. Snow was on the ground actually in Dallas. And, I had this round trip ticket. My dad took me from the graduation ceremony, dropped me off at the Dallas airport, and I had already put on shorts and a t-shirt, and I had sweats on and a jacket, and I got out of the car, got my bags, and I took off the jacket, took off the sweats. I had shorts on and a t-shirt and walked into the airport. Everybody's looking at me. And the moment that I got to Hawaii, I turned in my return ticket for cash and wound up staying with my cousin for a pretty long time. What was funny is I met my son's mom when I was in Hawaii. She was on vacation. She was from Sacramento. She was on vacation there, and her and I met and had a great time while she was there. And so she came back to Sacramento, and then a couple of months later, she came back over for another vacation, and I just was head over heels. So eventually I went and visited her in Sacramento, and while I was in Sacramento, this is a little short story. You probably don't realize this, but there was a little bitty town in Texas, not big enough to really have a full athletic program, but they had a basketball team, which was pretty common in a lot of small towns in Texas and across the United States. They had a basketball program. They did basketball year round. And one of the superintendent there knew me from when I was in high school and in college. Knew me as an athlete.
Junior college program type thing, or
no? It was a high school, just a high school.
Got it.
And the superintendent knew me from my high school career and college, and knowing my family, and he tracked me down. I was out here in Sacramento, just didn't have a job, and he said, "Hey, my head coach just passed away, and our first game is on, I think it was on the next Friday." And he said, I'm up the creek, and I don't want to coach the team, and I'd like to offer you a job. I spoke to your mom, and she told me how to find you. And so I jumped on a plane and went back to, home to Texas. And
are you telling me you coached a basketball game?
I coached a basketball team for a year. Basketball was not my forte.
I was going to say, how did you guys do?
We actually destroyed our district. And of course, I had some really good kids.
There's a lot of tall stories that you've told. That one, I'm gonna have a real hard time believing. Buzz.
We had a great time. I went, and of course, I was on a provisional approval at the state of Texas to teach, because I did not have a teaching credentials. And while I was there, I got my son's mom to move to Texas, and it was a tough year for her being in Texas. The little town that we lived in almost got completely destroyed by a tornado, and she was just not used to that kind of stuff. So when school was over, had a great time, great kids, and she told me, she goes, "Look, I'm going back to Sacramento. It's been real and it's been fun, but yeah, if you'd like to go, come on." So soon as school was over, I had 3 months worth of pay, because I was a teacher, coach, had paid through the summer. And I told him, I said, I'm not going to return. And so we packed up the pickup truck, moved back to Sacramento. And her mom and dad were both old realtors here in town. Matter of fact, they were brokers and had a little bitty brokerage. And her mom kept telling me, the moment that we got here, I walked on a construction site, which I had a lot of construction background, and I was working construction, and her mom kept saying, "You need to get your real estate license. You need to get your real estate license." So I was working construction and going to school at night, got my real estate license. And the moment I got my real estate license, I quit the construction job, went to work. And this is 1984. Went to work in the real estate industry for the first year and did okay. Liked real estate, but my college background was finance. And I just kept getting, I kept wanting or liking the whole loan process so much better than driving people around, showing them houses and, that type of stuff. And a gentleman started recruiting me and said, "You'd be better in the mortgage side." And so that was as we went into 1985, I transitioned from selling real estate, which gave me a perfect background, and I went into mortgages, and I knew so many people in the real estate industry, some of them still out there today that I run into all the time, and I went into the mortgage industry in 1985. It's where I met Kurt Reisick, and I had a really good mentor to start with. His name was Dennis Dykstra, and Dennis has passed away since. That company wound up being sold and had a bunch of changes. And there was another company that a gentleman that I totally respect, love him, was a really great mentor. You mentioned mentors. His name is actually Jack Frost, believe it or not. Jack Frost had a small independent mortgage banking firm here.
Now we're just going into Christmas fairy tales.
It's hard to tell, isn't it?
Christmas fairy tales.
And so went to work at Independent Financial Corporation. Everybody knew it as IFC, and he was a great mentor for me for many years. I wound up as a manager for him, did really well. That company sold. He wound up selling it and getting out of the business. And I didn't really want to work for the new company. And so I went into the mortgage brokerage industry. And at that time, different paths that we take. I wound up working for a company that started training programs for the lending industry. And I wound up traveling and all over the United States for about 20 years. Part of the mortgage brokerage, still closing loans, but I worked for HUD. I worked for the Federal Reserve. I worked for all of the national companies. We did all the training for Bank of America, for Wells Fargo, for Chase, for Countrywide. I just had a tremendous opportunity to get to know so many different national leaders and companies, and I was exposed to so much that after about 20 years of traveling, I'd had, my relationship with my son's mom fell apart, unfortunately, but I had a beautiful son, and I knew Kurt Reisick, and this was right before about the time you were talking about, 2006, 7, 8. Kurt and I started doing a lot of conversations. My son was getting to be, he was playing baseball, and I was on the road 230, 240 days out of the year. And Kurt continued to call me and say, I've got a job for you here. You can stay home. I've got a job for you. And I wound up coming to work for him. I've been here for 16 or 17 years, and I've seen Big Valley Mortgage grow, seen American Pacific move from a small player to now American Pacific's probably in the top 10 of independent mortgage bankers, and grown. They're licensed in all 50 states, I believe. We don't do loans in New York, but
49 out of 50.
Yeah, 49 out of the 50 they do business out of. And so I will say that I had a long line of really good mentors, Kurt being the one that really believed in me and put me in the position that I'm at. And, I think that circling back to you and what you were talking about is, I think that I spent a week at one of the self-help type of really amazing events, and one of the things that the challenges was to come up with one word that describes you as a person and what you are. And so by the time we got done with that week, what I realized, my one word that sums how I train, how I manage, how I interact, my one word was servitude. It spoke to me that servitude is really what people need in leaders, is someone that serves them and supports them. And American Pacific and Big Valley Mortgage, we have, these, we talked about it earlier, creating experiences that matter. But it also, it's written on the wall over at American Pacific. It says, what we do is we spend every moment helping to make our loan officers and our managers look good, help to support them. And so this idea, I found a company where my one word, servitude, I'm a servitude type of manager, leader. It matched perfectly. And, I'll stay here till I retire. Kurt has given me so many different opportunities of, partial ownership and all of that kind of stuff. But really, it's his trust in me because I think that he knows that everything that I do is about servitude to our people. And so that kind of sums up me and my journey, and even with my family, to my son and to, my longtime partner, girlfriend. It's what I truly believe is my calling, is to serve. So that kind of sums it up. I know that, what you and I have tried to build in the short 1.5 years is all about serving our loan officers, making sure that they have the tools and, quite frankly, the support to utilize those tools correctly. Things like the video. They have the support that they need to go out every day and win the business. And so that's kind of my, in a very short explanation, that's kind of who I am.
Well, the difference in Phil and Buzz talking in 2026 and Phil and Buzz talking in 2017, 18, 19, what's changed in my mind, I'm done trying to convince people to learn and do things that I have a low belief that will happen. I believe that, look, you got into this business as a loan officer because you enjoy connecting with people. You like structuring programs. You like helping people finance, secure homes, do different things. But for the vast majority, you didn't get into it to learn technology.
Mm-mm.
And so I think
uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. And for the vast majority of people that are technically sound, there are exceptions. There are some very versatile, I can do it all people. But in general, the really quality people, like, I'm here to help you. I want to help you finance your house. I want to help you find the home that fits you. And I want you to help get into that home and make memories. And so what's changed in me and that we've committed to here is we're not asking you to invest all of your time and energy into learning and investing and becoming an expert in a bunch of whole list of tools that may or may not ever produce results for you. We are going to do those for you, and we are going to put you in a position where your role with us is simply to put your voice into it so that you can do the one thing that you and only you can do.
Mm-hmm.
That's be you. That's connect. That's sell. And I believe after 20 years in this business that the lesson that I learned and the thing that I learned through failure, and to me, look, if you're a person afraid of failure, get the hell over it, because failure is the greatest teacher you will ever come across. I teach my kids this all the time. If you learn to fail and fail while learning, you are failing forward, and you are becoming a professional and an expert in an area that those that are too afraid to fail will never learn. And so all the things that I tried to do, all the tools I tried to implement, it's one of the flaws I think many mortgage banks have implemented is one size fits all tool. Everybody use it. Everybody learn it. Everybody figure this out. Well, I'm 57 years old and I don't have an interest in learning this tool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 42 years old. I don't want to learn this tool. Do it for me. Put it in place. Create it. Make it be valuable to me. Put it in my business acumen, my business repertoire, and then let me go out and do what I do best. And I believe that the best thing we can do for people is to give to them the things that they need to go out and build relationships and do the one thing that only they can do, which is trust, build relationships, and support and provide honest, trustworthy advice to people
Yeah.
who need it. And so I think you and I have, so much in common with where we see things, very different journeys. I will say, I find it funny as you talk about your experience and, kind of getting your teeth kicked in, so to speak, on certain, pieces of what you've learned. I think that part of becoming a true leader is recognizing that your job is to stop seeing yourself as a leader and start seeing yourself as a servant.
Mm-hmm.
I have always believed that my greatest success has always been in taking a clear understanding of what that person that I'm charged to support wants.
Well,
what's your goal and how do I help you achieve it? And if I do that, my success will come without having to worry about it. It will happen.
Yep.
I want to help you succeed.
And one of the things that I really like is we've come up with a little catchphrase, and I know that our engineer Jocelyn is going to get the curtain and pull the curtain on us here from this episode. But what's our new slogan that talks about this? Can you tell them what the slogan that we're using with this is? These are things that we're going to do. So what's the slogan?
Done for you, done with you, done by you.
Yep.
First and foremost, any and everything that we can do for you, we're going to do for you, because we do not want to ask you to waste your time doing things that are not of value to you to learn, invest, train, teach, may or may not add lift to your business.
Right.
Done with you. Look, we need this. We need to implement it. Your involvement, we're going to do it with you. We don't want you to get stuck learning it, training on it. We need your input on how your voice, your input, your personality, your overall essence as a person needs to be a part of this, so that we can create as much time as humanly possible for you to do the thing that you and only you can do, which is to connect with your people, build relationships, build trust, establish those connections, and demonstrate and deliver the value that we're offering. And I'll say with kind of an emphatic piece, when I first got back into this kind of like full-fledged part of the business, one of the things, I heard it here, I heard it at other companies, I heard it from other people. I would hear loan officers say, I don't have anything to call my customers about. And it used to drive me crazy, because my personal feeling was, that's because the only thing in your mind that you're calling them about is a loan.
Yeah, or interest rates.
Interest rates, and the idea that you're calling them about selling them something, and then you're realizing you don't have something obvious to sell them. And in my mind, what had been lost was relationships are not built on you selling. They are built on you delivering value at all times. And that your entire purpose and focus in life is to deliver value to the people that you are attached to. And so when I look at our Give Value program, and thank you again, Noel, Shauna, much, much respect to not just the creativity and the mindset and the platform of what Give Culture represents. And Noel, love you to death as a teammate, as a friend, my man. Love you to death for the loyalty and the love and the respect that you show your wife. Shauna, you deserve and earn all the creativity and respect for what Give Culture is. But being someone who is willing to give and thinks about giving first, second, third, fourth, and last is the foundation. We just had Jason made on here not too long ago, and he said something, and you remember, because I got off, we finished the episode, and I was like, GD, that was so refreshing, man.
Yeah.
If I get on a conversation with you, and as a client, the only question you have is rate, then I have done nothing to establish and deliver value to you as a customer, because there is a dollar store, there is Target, there is Nordstrom, there is Saks, there is all this stuff down the line. And in the end, people are always willing to pay for what they deliver, what they deem valuable. The single worst problem in our industry is a whole bunch of people who refuse to commit to giving value to their customers. And then when it comes down to competing, they're completely unable to identify and demonstrate why what they're doing is valuable. On a 30-year mortgage, $500 is the equivalent to pennies. That shouldn't be a differentiator when you really think big picture. But if you have done nothing to deliver value, it's everything. Yep. And so Jason was like a true, like, inspirational refreshment of this is what it's about. That's what we're about here. I have to tell you, from a vulnerable perspective, and for those of you that haven't tuned in, please tune into the Triple J Sports podcast. That is my baby. That is my passion. You want to see a vulnerable me. You also want to see unedited, lots of extra editing work on cussing. that episode can do so, as some of my teammates tend to not know the difference between the acceptable words and not. And for the Blitz Break, as well as Beyond the Pages, our podcast with the top 500 producers here with Sac Real Producers. Triple J Studios is taking off. We are doing a tremendous amount of content creation. We sit every week and we produce content with our real estate agents and our loan officers, and we are helping everyone attack the single most important thing, which is be yourself, show who you are, create a place for people to get to know you. And that way, when the time comes and they want to look you up, they get a chance to get to know who you are. It's not an infomercial.
Exactly.
It's not a constant commercial about this program or that program. They are getting to know you. And it's not just a personal photos here, photos there. You're getting a chance to hear somebody speak. Now, I apologize to any and all of you who've had to listen to me speak for more than 30 seconds because, as my wife and kids would tell me, Dad, please just shut up. Not everything's a lesson. And for Buzz, actually, I'm pretty impressed. You've held your accent way under control. I actually feel like you were much more Californian than anything else. So maybe we'll have to work on really drawing the Texan out of you. But I think this week, without dragging this episode out, there has been a lot happening in the industry. We've seen our ups and downs on the rates. I'll give you a quick, short chance to just give us a quick update, and then we'll wrap this episode out, my friend.
It's been a brutal last 2 weeks, actually, since the Iran conflict started. And it's, you expect some instability during a geopolitical type of conflict. The real story is oil. That's what it's all about. The fear of lack of oil, and really what it's about is the transportation of oil. none of the oil fields have been damaged during this, and they've been very, very careful. The problem is the Strait of Hormuz is a very small. Yeah,
Can't get through it.
Yeah, the Strait of Hormuz is just been a very small runway with about 20% of the world's oil that rolls through there, and so oil prices have shot up. At one point, they had doubled. They've come off of that, but the real story here is oil creates inflation, and inflation fears causes interest rates to rise. And so for the last basically 10 trading days, interest rates have gotten worse incrementally almost every day. Matter of fact, they're sitting at the almost for the last year at one of the worst places. Now, this is going to boomerang back. I can almost guarantee
it's going to create a spike in a very short order.
Yeah. And so we are absolutely ending the week worse off on interest rates than we've been over the last 2 weeks. But the moment that we figure out the oil transportation, the protection of all of that, there's no reason for oil to be up at those levels. Matter of fact, there's lots of oil everywhere, and those numbers will plummet. Interest rates will come back, and I think that we'll see this. We'll fight back slowly, but we'll fight back, and we'll see these better interest rates again over the next month to month and a half. And so, hang in there. Things will get better.
Well, I'm going to throw. This is the Phil salesperson, the one that my wife told me I had to get out of being an originator after being groomsman in like 6 weddings in 1 year and being too involved. Here's what I would advise those of you shopping. Think about this. If you go and you find the house and you get into your 30 or 45 day contract, even potentially, I know that seems like a long period. Or even a 21 day. The one thing you cannot time is finding the house. The house is the house. It's the place that you create the memories. Go find your house. Find the place you want to live with your family. Find the place where you can picture your children being in the backyard, making memories, swimming in the pool, living in that house, sleeping in that bed, making memories. That is the thing that is the most important. If things play out in a way that works out perfectly for you, the market will have all these variables in the industry take place. You'll see a drop, and next thing you know, you're in contract. You've gotten yourself a discount on the home. Interest rates drop, and you capitalize on it. Or you secure your house at a price point that has been affected by these increased rates. And then inside of a 6-month period, just after you clear your EPO and all the stuff that we deal with on our industry front, you're looking at doing a refinance, and now you've got the rate you want and the house you want, and you're sitting exactly where you want to be. Don't make the mistake of thinking, I have to have the rate and the home. That's when I make the move. The home is the thing that makes the memories. And so I know we talk about this a lot. I talk about this. I've got some close personal friends, family members who have obsessed about rates over the years. And I'm always like, dude, I could give you a 2% rate and give you a shack and you would hate it. Go find the house that you love. Find the house that you want to make the memories in that you can afford. And we will worry about making sure we get you the best payment possible for it. So I'm going to throw that in there. Buzz, you disagree with me?
No, absolutely. I've been owning homes for 40 something years, and there's always opportunities to get a lower interest rate.
You can time when rates dip, you can time a refinance to give you the optimal payment. But you know what? The house that you want, the house that you want to make memories in, You cannot expect or plan for the timing on that. When that house comes up, that's the time to act. When that house comes up and it's in the price point that you can afford, that's what we are here for. That's what the advisors are here for. And that's what all of you who are out there considering, think about that. Home is about memories. Home is about the place where you get to come home, your kids, your spouse. It's the place that you see as sanctity and safety and security, and there's nothing like it. And we live in a place, the United States, where, quite honestly, there's nothing like it. As many things as I'd like to say about this country that I don't agree with, along with the things that I do, the one thing that is amazing is the ability to own a home, to make it your own, to make the changes on it, and that's what we're here to create. And so you'll hear it in our Give Value campaign. Give Memories is what we believe this is all about. When you raise a family, when it's all said and done, the thing that you take with you is the memories of those children. I've got 3 of them, 8, 11, just turned 11, and 14. And I am desperately hanging on to the last 4 years I have with my 14-year-old before she decides apparently she wants to go off to England for school, which if I can sabotage that just for my own selfish being, I might do that. But unfortunately, in order to be the best father I can be, I'm going to want to enable that and give her her chance to chase her dreams. But go find the home that you want. That's my personal advice.
Yep.
Buzz, thanks for taking the time to do this episode. For those of you, thanks for putting up with a little bit of vulnerability from me. There is a long story behind this. I have made every mistake there is. I look at the humility, and I like to talk about one thing in particular. Life is guaranteed to do one thing to you: humble you. It is guaranteed to remind you that your 18-year-old self, your 16-year-old self, all of those things that we are built, like we always talk about, energy's wasted on the youth. Well, humble is wisely placed on our older selves. And there's a lot of humility that I have personally taken in over the years. Given that you've been around since, 1762, I think your humility is off the charts.
Seen a lot. So yeah, absolutely, buddy. The longer you live, the more humble that you have to be.
There's no doubt about it, but there's also a tremendous amount of confidence that comes with making mistakes. And again, I want to throw a shout out to wrap this up. All the Smoke, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, I appreciate you guys for being the reason that I started watching podcasts at the level that I did. There's a lot of shows I watch now that have ignited a fire, but you guys were one of them that really helped light that. To my teammates and to my friends that really helped me find myself: Rob Eson, Gus Arginal, Amir Caraway, Greg Klink. Gosh, I'm going to run out of names so fast. It's going to be scary. But all of you who have been a part of this journey and have joined and done the episodes and helped me find myself, leading to what is now the Blitz Break, and to all of our Blitz Break guests who have made such an incredible impact. Your stories, your realism, the amount of information that you've shared, the transparency and the emotional impact that you've created. Buzz, being a part of this together, doing this together, tremendously grateful for you.
It's a lot of fun, man. I love Friday mornings.
I love the therapy sessions. I cannot believe how much I have made an impact on you on ChatGPT. One of these days, ChatGPT is going to pop up and tell me, hey, Buzz has done something he shouldn't have done because he went a little too far with ChatGPT, and we're coaching you on it now. But thank you for tuning in.
Yep.
This has been another episode of the Blitz Break. For those of you that haven't yet, please know subscribing is free. That's a huge part of what makes this channel work. It's part of our mission. We want to be a part of your audience, a part of your network, a part of your sphere, a place that you go to learn, a place that you go to gather information and connect with people. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. Check us out on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest, Blue Sky, YouTube Shorts. There's probably a few more I can't seem to remember off the top of my head. But follow us everywhere because we are out there, and our goal is to reach you all and to provide information and to, first and foremost, be educational, be authentic, provide a platform for our audience to see and meet and get to know a tremendous amount of incredible individuals who have amazing stories, have valuable information to tell, far more than Buzz and I could ever drop in an episode like this. And also for you as individuals to be connected to people who can be resources to you in the long run. But no, it's free and it's easy to subscribe, follow, like, and comment, and really help us build that following. There is going to be, and check it out, coming very, very soon, swag stores for the Blitz Break, Triple J Sports Podcast, for the obvious Big Valley Mortgage, things that you can wear, combinations and collaborations with Give Culture so that you can show and represent what we all stand for here. And then many events upcoming. For those of you that haven't heard about it just yet, we have a Mother's Day event coming up here very soon. We'll be doing an event here. It'll be hosted in a park. You'll have an opportunity to come in, take some photos, make some Mother's Day cards. Look, as a father, anything I can do to get my kids to make a Mother's Day card for my wife and have it be amazing and authentic, I'll take advantage. My school, St. John Evangelist, does a great job with that, so thank you to them for that. But thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. This was a longer episode, especially with two dumbasses like Buzz and myself. But this has been another episode of the Blitz Break, Friday afternoon. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you next week.
See you next week.